So you might be like, what are you showing me? What is that? And what does it matter? Well, just like you guys know, I do talk and cover a lot about tag grading, recent tag grading submissions, grading news in general, anything that has to do with tag grading, and how I personally believe that tag grading going down the road is going to have a very permanent and strong presence in the hobby. It might not be the number one grading company at the moment, but it's definitely going to have its place because of situations like this. Now, if you're wondering at the card, that is going to be one of the winning cards from 2015's the Pokemon Art Academy contest illustration winning. Oh my god, what the hell? Sorry for that remix. Oh, anyways, so that card is going to be a winner from the 2015 Art Academy Pokemon game. So the Pokemon Company released a game for the Nintendo 3DS back in 2015, and in order to promote it, they had a contest telling people like me, Jamie Johns, Timmy's, whatever you want to call these people, hey, this is a game that's gonna help you how to draw Pokemon, and if you want to partake in this contest, submit us your best dress up Pikachu card or your favorite Pokemon card, and then we will go ahead and make your art, your submission into Pokemon cards. So here's the thing, 22 different cards or 22 different illustrators or fan arts or whatever you want to call them. There's 22 winners. 12 of them came from North America, Europe, and Oceania, right? That means not 12 each. It was split up between those three areas, those 12 cards selected, and then there was 10 cards selected from the Japanese side, making it a total of 22 cards. Well, here's the thing. The winners of the illustration, the 3DS Pokemon Art Academy illustration contest, they got 100 of their cards given to them. From their winning submissions, they got 100 copies of those cards back. Meaning that you cannot pull any of these cards through any regular packs unless you have graded copies and you open it up through a mystery power pack. But I can guarantee you that would never happen. They were not given away in tournament cards. Like, these are not tournament illegal cards. So these cards are the definition of rare. So there is a limited pool of these cards, and with that being said, having 100 cards per winner, there's a total of just 2,200 copies out there, meaning that big money is probably going to be going after these cards in a graded copy just because they're going to be very low pop. If someone already has a full set, I can guarantee you that it's going for millions and millions of dollars. Now, probably what's the best part about this is, okay, so they're extremely rare, they're extremely low population. It doesn't have a tax in the sense that it's not illustrated by a fan favorite artist. We're talking about, there's no Shinji Kanda, no Tetsukayama, no Komiya. There's no Ren. There's no illustrators like this. These are regular people, your co-workers, your friends, your family members who bought the game, drew their favorite Pokemon, and submitted it, and they won. Now, if we look into the art submissions, they look amazing. Honestly, probably the best part or the strongest part of this collection is going to be the Pikachus. For the simple fact that there was a specific entry for Pikachu only. Dress them up however you want to. And just like the card that I showed you by King's Road Vault or King's Card Vault or something like that. That's their Instagram name. Look. These cards are going to be the most popular. Yes, you got a farmer Pikachu, you got a business Pikachu, you got an astronaut Pikachu, which is probably my favorite. You got dancing in the rain Pikachu. You also got different kinds of Pokemon. We're talking about Gumi, Sableye, Gourgeist. Now the Gourgeist card goes extremely hard. And we got a Mudkip. But we got a Hawaiian Pikachu or Pacific Islander Pikachu, because dancing with a floral skirt. A very heavily inspired Japanese Pikachu, a New England, a Queen of Hearts Pikachu with the biggest fucking tail I've ever seen. That one's clearly a female, and I kind of like that detail that they went ahead and gave Pikachu their gender and their thing, right? Male Pikachus have a cut edge tail, while the female Pikachus have a hard edge. Now you have other cards like Kyogre, Tangrowth, Chespin. Kyogre, fairly popular Pokemon. Chespin, fairly popular Pokemon. Not a lot of people like Tangrowth, so the fact that someone's favorite Pokemon is Tangrowth and they won, that's pretty freaking cool. Same thing with the Gourgeist. If we look at more Pikachus, well, Pikachu in a dress. We got a Chef Pikachu trying to get ketchup. You gotta love that in-game reference. And then Pastry Pikachu with muffins. Now, some people could be a little bit less creative, but still, this is their interpretation of a Bumblemew. So yes, now we have another different Bumblemew out there. We got a Kecleon, which Kecleon honestly is a low-key very good Pokemon, and you can see that it has a very strong presence not only in the cards but in the games, like in Mystery Dungeon. Kecleon happens to be one of those very prominent Pokemon that always comes out, and that's honestly pretty cool. And Delphox, I'm surprised about Delphox. Not that it won, but how many people are out there really saying that Delphox is my favorite Pokemon. So if you guys already seen this channel, I'm going to keep advocating for this. Something that I think is the strongest thing that tag has to offer, but the thing that pisses me off the most is that it comes with a tag score. Whenever we're talking about grading and the fact that tag is self-proclaimed the most transparent company out there, they go ahead and tell you about the tag score. Now, they're assholes for locking it up behind the paywall. That is my personal opinion, but I'm going to go ahead and criticize them about that. Just like I'm going to go ahead and criticize PSA about their upcharge fee that you literally have to pay them so you can get your stuff back. It's kind of the same shit with tag. Like the fact that you have to pay them to go ahead and get the score. And obviously this doesn't really matter if you're grading with them like high-end cards, so you're willing to do the express grading, the higher tiers. But if you're looking to do score grading, if you're looking to get your score on your cards back, you have to pay a premium when it comes to bulk. Look, I don't think you really should be doing that. And even if you submit your submission with tag, Tag Show made an excellent point in one of the comments, is he wishes that if you submit a card or a bulk submission with tag, and whenever they get their grades back, that maybe at the very least they can go ahead and give you the option of which card you can go ahead and approve or pay extra for the score during the submission process rather than having to pay it up front. I think honestly that would be a very smart idea, especially to keep promoting their score, because the score, the tag score, the 1,000-point system score is very important for tag grading. And the fact that they're hiding it behind the tag wall, like I said it before, it's a little bit of a bullshit. But as much of a supporter as I am of tag, clearly, right, before you Timmies go ahead and start criticizing me, it should be one of those things that they're giving it to you upfront for free. In most submissions, in every single submission, right? But why does it matter? These cards are going to go ahead and get graded, and whenever they do, the 10s are going to go ahead and sell for hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm not wrong about this. A BGS 10 Mudkip sold for $42,000 back in 2024. A BGS 10 Gumi sold for $30,000 in 2026. Now, I haven't gotten the figure out this, but a Tag 10 Gourgeist sold for over 6 figures. A Tag 10 Gourgeist. Now, that's really, really good. Let's go ahead and talk about Gourgeist. But before we do, just like the World Cup, I'm going to go ahead and take a hydration break. Marines and their crayons. Am I right? So, the Gourgeist. The Gourgeist is not necessarily a very popular Pokemon. It is a ghost. It is a pumpkin. So most likely, maybe people who are really into Halloween, into ghosts, they're gonna love Gourgeist. Or people who grew up with the anime, right? Because didn't Jesse have a Gourgeist as their Pokemon during the anime series? Look, Gourgeist, once again, not a fan favorite Pokemon, but the thing that this Gourgeist has going for it, it has cameos of all sorts of different ghost type Pokemon. Even in the front, you have a Jellicent, we have a Rotom, you keep looking in the back of the car, you got a Phantom, you have a Spiritomb, you have, what's the best part, if you really look into it, they have a Ghastly, a Haunter, and a very creepy looking Gengar. The fact that a fan went ahead and illustrated ghost Pokemon and made them look creepy kills it. And I personally believe that this card is probably going to be the most expensive Pokemon card out there for the 2015 Pokemon Art Academy cards out there. This has the potential of being the most expensive card, not only because of the cameos, but mostly because they went ahead and graded this card with a score. There's only one of these copies graded through tag. Yes, it could be possible multiple through BGS. Obviously, everyone will be chasing the black label. But there's only 100 opportunities you can go ahead and chase a black label. And if we look at their Pops report, if they carry their Pops report, I'm not going to look into it. I'm not a BGS fan. I'm not a PSA fan. But if you have over 100 submissions of that card, then people have been resubmitting the same card trying to get the highest grade. This is where I like tag, right? Where resubmitting the same card is going to be a lot more difficult, because if it has issues, dents, dings, centerings, the AI should be able to pick it up. So the population on tag rating should be a lot better. Now, the only thing that kind of has me concerned is, does tag really, like the system, does the AI really go ahead and pick up fakes? Like, are they, whenever they're scanning the cards, can they go ahead and tell if this is a real card, if this is a fake card, rather than having the whole entire situation that CGC had a couple years ago with the prototype Pokemon cards? That would be my only concern. Tag hasn't really made a statement that whenever they are grading, they're also making sure that the cards are authentic. But let's assume that they are, that the system is good enough for that. The best thing that this card has going for it is that they went ahead and graded the card with a score, and the card got a score of 978 points. Fantastic. That is a strong score. There's only 100 of these cards out there for the Gourgeist. Not a lot of people believe in tag. Fair enough. A lot of people are going to be grading with PSA because that's where the liquidity and the liquidity is. That's the gold standard at the moment. But when it comes to AI grading, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if later down the road, tag is worldwide and it's going to be the go-to grading for AI grading. It's going to be the standard for AI grading. So the fact that this card got a score of 978 points, it's fantastic. So you're looking probably at a very strong copy. You probably won't ever get a black label 10, because we can go ahead and look at the dig report, and the centering on the Gourgeist is going to be 48 on the left, 52 on the right, 51 on the top, 49 on the bottom. So the centering in the front is pretty strong, but the 48-52 will go ahead and take it out of pristine 10 contention. If we look at the back of the card, we have a 50-50 left and right. We got a 51-49 top to bottom, and it has one ding on the edge. So overall, the centering on this card is fantastic. It's really fantastic. Honestly, if this person was trying to maximize their value, if they could get this card fixed from that ding and go ahead and send it for Beckett in order to get a black label, there's a possibility it might squeak, because a 48-52 centering, it's a toss-up between 51 and 49. So the closer the you are to there, the more chances they can go ahead and get a black label card. But if this card already sold for 6 figures in a tag 10, I can only imagine what it would sell for a black label. But this is what I'm saying, why it matters, why grading with tag really matters, especially when it comes to like limited edition cards like this. There's only 100 cards for every single winner. If you happen to get a card like this, look, you can disagree with me all you want, and I encourage you to disagree with me, and then it's okay. Maybe tag will flop down the road. Absolutely, that is always going to be a possibility. Maybe the hobby, the Pokemon hobby, will go ahead and flop. The collecting hobby might go ahead and break, and people lose hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars on cardboard. That is always a possibility. But like, let's say the company does fail, but you went ahead and graded cards with tag. At a bare minimum, I'm always going to stress this, you will have the dig report. You will have the dig report. You will have the information of what kind of quality you have on your card. It will tell you the centering, front and back. It will tell you the ding, the scratches. So if you can't identify it, but the AI system does identify it, then you know if you're going to send this card to go ahead and get fixed with someone else, which I honestly wouldn't, because this one base for raw is probably going for a couple of $1,000s, and it's a very limited card. At very least, you have the information to go ahead and give it to the person who restores and repairs cards in order to fix your card, in order to chase whatever grading company in the future is the gold standard. I don't know if PSA is going to remain the gold standard. There's a good chance that they might. There's a good chance that other companies will go ahead and overtake that. We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know, and we can't go ahead and assume. But at bare minimum, if tag fails, you will have the information of the quality that your card has. And that really does matter, because with 100 cards out there for this Gourgeist, for any of the Pikachus, for the Mudkip, for that Bubble Mew, for whatever card from the 2015 Art Academy Pokemon, you might want to have the best copy in your collection if you manage to get one. And the only way you're going to be able to support that claim is grading with tag and getting the score. So therefore, the highest number that you can get for these arts, the better.